Hi, I'm going to be talking about ethical and legal reasons that affect sport. Um, I'll explain what ethical and legal means first. Ethical is the thing like the rules that you class as right or wrong. There's no set boundaries to them. There's no set laws to them. It's not illegal to do them, but at the same time, it's immorally wrong to do it. So coaches have an expectation to keep within this ethical boundary of the sport, so they have the best code of conduct kind of thing during their sessions. Whereas illegal means that if someone breaks the law, so like if you give someone something illegal or you're doing something illegal, then it could be punished with the law kind of thing. And there are very serious offences that go along with breaking this code of conduct. There are 4 C's within the coaching and like researchers code of conduct kind of thing. So the first one is conduct. This is essential because you're expected as a professional coach. This it's expected from a professional coach. So this means you can't mess around during sessions and you can't be doing stupid stuff and everything because you have a role to fulfil, and if you don't fulfil that properly, then you could put other people in danger kind of thing. The second one is consent. So that's a very, very large part of all this. If you don't ask your participants and you don't tell them what you're going to do and you don't get signed consent if they're a child, then this can break the law if you're going to do things that the parents don't agree with. The third one is confidentiality, where this one is you have to keep all their details and their names and ages and stuff like that. You can't share them out to the people because it could have a massive effect on that client, and it can have very bad consequences on you as a coach because it can get back to you and affect all the work you're doing. And the fourth one is competence, and this is how confident you are in teaching the skills and trying to teach all this. They can be bad if you're not competent because you can be teaching dangerous skills in sport. There are 7 penalties for disobeying the code of conduct. Firstly is a loss of accreditation, which is where you lose your title in the association that you're based in. For example, BASES, which is the British Association of Sport and Exercise Science. You lose your accreditation in that if you disobeyed any of the consent, confidentiality, competence, and all the other stuff like that. If you disobey that, then you'll lose your accreditation. You could lose your job. It could lead to someone suing you. You could have a fine. You could even go to jail. It also causes physical and emotional harm, and you could lose your BASES membership as well if you disobey any of the codes of conduct. One example of this is if you're a coach and you're teaching one of the gymnasts and they're starting to get ready for a competition or the Olympics or something like that, and you want to boost their performance, you want to boost the results kind of thing. If you give them performance enhancing drugs, then it will be illegal with some drugs, e.g. like some steroids. Like if you give them that, then that is illegal because it's an illegal drug. And also it's unethical as well to give an athlete something to boost their performance. And an implication of that would be probably either suing or even going to jail for supplying steroids to an athlete. A second example would be confidentiality. So if you share details about the performers in your gymnastics groups, or if you send anything out to do with them to other people and you name their name or private details or anything like that, that comes under confidentiality, which every coach should be expected to have. But if they're using it for like a reasonable purpose, like showing it to other gymnastics clubs that are nearer to her, and other trainers she could use and stuff like that, and facilities she can use around areas and stuff like that. And that's a good moral way to use it. But if you violate that and send it out for other purposes, then there are a lot of consequences to it, 'cause you're sharing the private details of someone. Another example would be punishment in gymnastics. So, for example, if you don't make a floor routine, you don't do a perfect run, then you get punished by doing press ups, sit ups, and stuff like that. This can be very unethical, because if you're making a 5-year-old, for example, do press ups because she hasn't done something right, then that's quite unethical, because they're still trying to learn, they haven't perfected their skill. Whereas it's a little bit more acceptable if, say, someone that's doing the horse that hasn't done a perfect run up, the punishment for not doing that perfect run up is to do press ups, do sit ups, or do the run 3 or 4 more times every time they get it wrong, so they can perfect it. So that's an ethical reason. Another example is competence in coaching a gymnastics squad or a gymnastics team kind of thing. So if you don't have enough competence in teaching, say like the horse or the vault or rings or like the floor work and stuff like that, if you don't have that experience and all that knowledge, then if you teach a gymnast the wrong technique, it can lead to absolutely huge injuries. It can lead to all like absolutely loads of stuff. So this is a really good example of unethical situation that a gymnast could be in from their coach. So if that happened, then either you'd have to find a coach that has a more up to date and more like a wider range of knowledge, or you'd have to, that's pretty much the only way you can get around it, is to find another coach to teach you a better technique. That way you won't have as big a risk of injury and as big a risk of learning the wrong technique in gymnastics. A fifth reason would be partly illegal, partly ethical, which would be having a relationship or like a subtle bond with one of the gymnasts. If you have a subtle bond with them, the other gymnast could get jealous, and they could say that it's favouritism to one person. This would affect the results of the actual gymnast you're teaching, because they'd assume that one person is better and you'll always favour them, you'll always help them out, kind of thing. Whereas if you have a relationship, this is also unethical, but can be illegal if the gymnast is quite considerably younger and there's no consent there, kind of thing. So if a trainer has like a relationship with a gymnast that's, say, 16, this could be illegal. A, because it's unprofessional. B, because it's just morally wrong to have a relationship with someone that you're working with all the time in that way, kind of thing. Like you're kind of messing up the trainer-student kind of relationship between you, which gets the best results out of training. This can be punishable by jail in severe cases, but otherwise it could be just like a loss of BASES membership, or a fine, or written warning of being kicked out of BASES, and also that fines, suing and action can come from that, especially from like the families and parents of people, of like the children that you're teaching in the gymnastics class.